How's it going, everyone? This is Brandon Prosek with Entertainment Buffet. Special treat for us today. If some of you on the channel have seen Pizza Delivery, the first episode, we have a special guest, BriElle, the star of Pizza Delivery, and that episode is here. How's it going, BriElle?
Hey, I'm so good, Brandon. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much for talking about this. It's been, 6, almost 7 years since we made this.
So weird. It's so weird.
Feels like a lifetime.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about pizza delivery, a lot of the stuff, how like it took a few years and this video randomly decided to go viral and the funny reasons how it did so. And then I'm also going to be talking about BriElle. She has been a contestant on Wheel of Fortune, which is awesome. Before we get into that, BriElle, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm BriElle. I am from the southwest side of Chicago, born and raised. I am currently back in Chicago, but will soon be moving to New York. I am an art director for an advertising agency, just finished my master's degree, and love doing comedy on the side, which is how Brendan and I got started working together.
Yeah, we both went to Columbia College, and at the time, co-host Jessica Quaz and I were producing sketches and web shows back in when we started Entertainment Buffet at Columbia. And I think we did like kind of like a casting of a bunch of different people. We had people come in to read in different parts, and we both found you hilarious. And so we're like, we have to put her in at least one thing. And then we talked about doing this pizza delivery idea, which, we're like, we're going to do a handful of these episodes. We think you'd be great for this role. And so I was curious. I know it's been a while, but what were your thoughts when you were first reading like this script and just this premise and stuff?
Oh, I loved it. I'm like, I have no filter. I mean, I have like a professional filter when I have to for like a job interview or meeting with a client, but the real me has no filter. So I am all about like dirty, stupid humor. So I was like, yeah, this is right up my alley. This is hilarious. I want to be a part of this. So it's perfect.
And I had to ask because we were like in college. You said you didn't have a filter, but the fact that like of all the sketches, this wasn't just kind of like inappropriate humor, but it was a parody of like the pizza delivery stereotypical porn scenario. So did you have like thoughts about like not only doing something that was dirty, but something that was just like what we've all either seen sarcastically or have actually seen scenes, about this porn parody?
It's really funny. I feel like, not to get too deep, I feel like that came at a really interesting time in who I was as a person. Like I think it was 20 going on 21, or I had just turned 21 when we made that. And I was starting to really become like this bad feminist bitch that I am today, because I didn't really understand it for a while. So having the opportunity to kind of embrace my femininity and also be in a sketch that just kind of like was a big fuck you to horny dudes everywhere was actually really awesome.
Yeah, which that's what's so funny about this sketch is it's, you are, kind of a sexualized character, but like nothing actually sexual happens. Like you guys don't even kiss. Like it's the only time that you two touch is when you slap him.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did get to be a bit of a badass in that. And I don't know, what was your experience like? Because I know you performed both like improv and sketch on stage. I don't know, what was your experience just generally like working on film projects, not just pizza delivery, but in general at that time, if you remember?
Yeah, it was really interesting because that was one of the first film pieces that I did, or behind a camera. And it's weird trying to think of what's going on from your point of view and from Jess's point of view. Like I could act the scene out over and over again, but I'm in my head thinking, are they zooming in on a certain part of me, or like what kind of things are they focusing on? Because I also work behind the camera in my career, so I'm always thinking of that even as an actor. Mm-hmm. And it was like, no, hang on, sorry.
No, you're good.
And it was really fun working with Joe too, because he was like so straight the whole time and kept his disposition. So I think that also made it easier to work with, because if he kept cracking up the whole time, I certainly would be, and we wouldn't have gone anywhere.
Yeah. And once I was like kind of looking at like data about these videos and just kind of really recalling how the different episodes went, because like we ended up doing 8 of these, and just remembering, because yours was actually, even though it's the first one we uh, premiered, it was actually, I think, the 3rd or 4th one we had shot at that time because of scheduling with everyone and the locations and such. And do you remember, as far as like how it felt on set? One thing I do remember is that it was really hot because we shot these, I think it was like July, August,
Yes.
and we couldn't have the AC on because of sound, and that was in one of Jess's old apartments. So that's one thing I remember. I don't know if you remember anything else from set. Like, how'd you feel? You're just like having to be in this robe all day.
Yeah, I remember like blotting like my face a lot because I was sweating a lot, and then hoping like, oh my god, I hope they make me look good. And then I remember, because we were filming in the doorway, and I
Yeah.
remember you guys like had to get really tight in on me and Joe a couple times because we were in the doorway, which just felt weird. But again, I knew like you were getting really great shots, but it was funny like how intimately that all happened, and how also like how much we were able to do with very little set, very little resources, very little things that we actually needed as part of the script. So it was really fun to see that all come together.
Yeah, and that's honestly why Jess and I decided to tackle these first, was because as a team at the time with no budget and minimal resources, like our cast would always like skeleton crews, usually just mainly actors, and then like her, me, and then like maybe someone shooting it if we weren't shooting it. And so I was like coming up with ideas. I'm like, well, these, we just need a doorway. Like, that's one thing, a location we have at our disposal, opposed to like, you know, needing maybe an office or like a doctor's office or whatever it may be. Like, we all have an apartment with a door, so I think we can make that work. But yeah, now that you're mentioning that, I do remember we had to get things like real close together, and
Yeah.
it seemed weird, and I'm like, don't worry, the lens of the camera, it's not as close as it feels.
Yeah.
So yeah, we, by the time we edited this and some of the other ones, and we decided to start dropping them in, I looked, it was around November of 2014. Do you remember reactions either from like friends or like anyone at the time when that first kind of dropped, like thoughts on it?
I
You being
showed
this in a
I
robe
showed my
slapping Joe.
I showed my mom. And I was like, mom, like, cause my mom is super, both my parents are really supportive of me doing anything artistic. And I was like, hey mom, look at the sketch that I was in. And I don't think, like, she wasn't disappointed. She was kind of confused. She's just like, okay. I think she was very surprised that I I did it. Um, so I remember her reaction in particular was really great, really priceless. Uh, and then I remember just showing it. I was like this weird enigma at Columbia because my degree was in advertising, but I did a lot of comedy and I was really involved with the theater community at Columbia. So I remember showing a lot of my design friends and the people I worked with in the design lab, and they were like, oh, holy shit, you can act too. And I was like, yeah. And then they're like, oh, she did this weird porn parody. That's great.
Yeah, that's so true, because like so many people there that we worked with were people who were studying acting or film or, you know, theater, whatever it may be. And I remember, I think it took me a second to learn. I was like, oh wait, this isn't like the main thing you're going for, but you're
Yeah.
also just as good, if not better, than a lot of other people who are studying this. I was like, okay, show off, you know. Yeah, so when we first dropped it, just like a lot of the videos back then, I think they would have like 500 views, maybe 1,000, like nothing crazy. And honestly, like I'll just say from like my point of view, around 2016 or so, I stopped focusing on video work and I started writing and then producing a play and like doing stand-up and such. So I moved and entertainment moved into live production away from video content. And of course, when we stopped doing it is when all of a sudden, like a year or two ago, I started noticing that specifically your episode of Pizza Delivery is spiking. And at first I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I guess people are finding it like a few years later. I wonder why. And like, I kind of just was monitoring it like maybe once every couple months. And then all of a sudden it's like 20,000, 100,000. I think every now and then I would text like you. And then like I was living with Joe, the actor at the time.
Yeah.
And so like telling him about it. And like, I remember he would just laugh. He's like, oh, okay. And I think every time I would reach out to you, I'd be like, hey, look, it's like still growing. Like, what were your reactions when either me or like you would maybe see a post that like this video from 2014, like 3-4 years later is spiking?
It just doesn't make sense. And it still doesn't. Like, I don't know. First off, even though like I'm a millennial, like I don't know how social media and things on the internet work. Like, I don't know how to make my shit popular. So that in itself, like, the fact of it getting so many views, and I had no doubt that it would because you guys produced it and it was great. But even just like objectively, how to get a video to get that many views was mind blowing. But then like it was mine and it was happening like all over the world was so weird and so unexpected. But it was awesome.
So I eventually decided, I'm like, okay, I should do some digging as to like why this one, like what are they searching? Because like YouTube, I'm not sure how much you've used like their analytics, or for those who haven't, they can give you a vast amount of analytics from, if they have the genders of those who are watching, the age groups, the, where in the world they are, what's the average that they're actually watching, out of the 3-minute video. Are they watching it for 10 seconds or for 2.5 minutes? And so finally I do some digging and I'm like, there are some spikes in India and Pakistan, which I'm like, why? And like I didn't understand. And so then I start looking at search results and people were searching for pizza delivery porn
Oh,
on
is that really?
YouTube. Yep. And so I asked I have a friend who's Indian, and he's like, oh, well, India just got YouTube in like 2017. And then I looked online and Pakistan just got it around the same time. Like, I think there may have been bans in the country or something of them using it. And so I think a lot of them must not know that there's not actual porn on YouTube. And so this is like a two-pronged thing. So like once they started finding it accidentally, the way YouTube's algorithm works based on like research and like videos I've watched learning about it is kind of once you get attention on a video, it becomes a snowball effect. It's like once you get it going, like once the gas is on and the fuse is lit, it just kind of goes. But it's like you have to get it at that level first. And so their accidents started then spreading to more people in the US finding it. And then eventually I did further research and found that there was like certain days where it was like a video on people's homepage. So like they click YouTube and on their homepage is pizza delivery. And so there's a few days in like 2018, 2019 where it would have like 30 or 40,000 views in one day because it was a homepage video. And then that's where, like I said, I'm seeing the search results. It's like, oh, they're looking for like pizza delivery porn, pizza delivery sex, hot pizza boy, pizza girl, hot girl, like just all these different combinations to find that porn scenario. And little did they know that it is that for like half of it. And then just straight up becomes you slapping him being like, oh, you thought wrong of me. And I wonder how many people were sexually frustrated.
Wow, I've screwed with a lot of men, possibly. Oops.
But I mean, people were still watching it, and then they were clicking on other pizza delivery videos. Some of those started getting more numbers. We started getting more subscribers on Entertainment Buffet. And so at this current time, this was as of a couple days ago, this video now has 3,377,900 some views.
Oh my God.
So safe to say, I never expected any of my videos to have that kind of attention. What does it feel like to be in a video? Like, you're one of there's only two actors in it. It's you and Joe. What does it feel like to be in a video that has been seen over 3 million times?
It always makes me wonder, like, if I always wonder if there will be a day that somebody is going to stop me on the street and be like, you were that girl in that YouTube video. But I also feel like anybody that would stop me would be probably too embarrassed because of that search history.
Exactly.
But yeah, like I never, and like comedy was always like my side hustle. I never wanted it to be like the focus of what I did in my life, because I just always wanted it to be a fun thing. So I never expected anything that I would ever do, be it like stand up or improv or sketch, to blow up like that. So it was really, really unexpected, but awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that, like I said, it wasn't just blowing up in the US, it's blowing up in India, Pakistan. And then I was sharing a little bit with you the other day, but I definitely want to share with the audience a large list of countries who have enjoyed pizza delivery. These countries include, besides the three we've already talked about, US, India, Pakistan, United Kingdom, Indonesia, Philippines, Canada, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, United Arab. Sorry, this has been seen so many places. Malaysia, Australia, South Africa, Germany, Bangladesh, Algeria, Turkey, Italy, Mexico, Iraq, Brazil, Netherlands, Ireland, France, Morocco, Nigeria, Kuwait, Spain, Vietnam, New Zealand, Singapore, Sweden, Kenya, Qatar, Russia, Greece, Japan, Romania, Poland, Lebanon, Jordan, Trinidad and Tobago, Syria, South Korea, Thailand, Argentina, and Libya. Now, let me just say, that is only the countries who have 4,000 or more views.
Holy shit.
So there are more countries who have seen it, but these are like 50 so people who have 4,000 or more views.
Wow. Wow. That is, yeah, never in my life did I
As I was looking at that list when I first pulled that data, I'm like, I'm running out of countries that I just know in my head to be countries.
That's wild.
Yeah, and like I said, those are all people who saw it 4,000 or higher. So like US, it's like 800 some thousand, or more.
God.
But like that's all 4,000 or more, just those countries that you've been seen in some form.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So yeah, how does it feel not only to be in a video that's like that many views, but it's not just the US, it's spread out across the world?
It's really interesting because it makes me think of the fact, I'm terribly optimistic sometimes, but in a very wholesome way, I think, it just proves the fact that some things just truly are universal. Like no matter where you come from and no matter what language you speak and what gender or what skin color you are, like some people just want to get their rocks off. Like, you know what? And like, good for them. It's weird that it's me doing that, not like an actual porn star. But again, yeah, like it proves the point that some things just are the same no matter what country, no matter what language you speak.
And it's the fact that like I'm not like super versed in like porn scenarios, but when it comes to
it's okay if you are, Brandon. It's fine. Like,
I mean, we all know that we've seen like pretty much everyone has seen some form of porn, but it's just the fact that like, pizza delivery is a very specific category. It's not like MILF or I don't know, like a doctor, you know, secretary, teacher, you know, things that like people really have kinks in, but specifically a dude coming to the door with a pizza to a woman coming onto him. Like that's so specific.
I've read an actual study about this, and I can't quote it or reference it properly, but it's the idea that like the everyday average Joe can have like his wildest dream come true. So whether it's like hot teacher or hot like customer at a restaurant, like that basic thing of like this regular dude who might not get any action in his lifetime, like can fulfill his wildest fantasies. So I feel like that is pretty true to a lot of guys. But yeah, it's like, it is like a very specific thing.
Very specific thing.
But I guess a lot of guys just like, I don't know, like want to live a fantasy with like their delivery person or like the person they deliver to. I don't know.
Yeah, which it's funny to me because out of all the videos that like Entertainment Buffet has, like you were also in another one called 1-800-Cockblock, which a large group of cast was in it in different segments who like it did involve kissing and like making out and like you know, I think people with like a shirt off or whatever it may be, like that's more like steamy, if you will, but like yours where you're just being like kind of horny, if you will, and it's this specific scenario that people are finding that, and then like I said, but there's no actual physical touching beyond the slap, like there's no kissing, no hugging, even like it's not sexual really besides what you're saying. It's just
Right.
words.
And I think it's probably for a lot of people. I know from like talking to friends about like watching porn or like watching more intimate stuff. It's easier sometimes for them to imagine themselves in the scenario when it's less physically intimate. So like I remember in 1-800-Cockblock, I was with my ex at the time, and we like made out at one point. So I would imagine like maybe it would be harder to fantasize me making out with the viewer if I'm physically making out with somebody in the segment versus if I'm just standing in a doorway in a robe. I don't know, your mind could probably go wild for some people. I don't know. Which is like really weird to think like that somebody might have that thought about me, but flattering maybe too. I don't know.
Yeah, I just had no idea when I came up with that idea, and like we shot like a handful of these at the time, that it would actually have this effect. Like I thought maybe some people may find it by accident looking for like something that like related to that. Like maybe like I've seen people mainly because like we're on suggested videos now for other videos that are like pizza delivery related. It's like a prank where like someone comes to the door and like drops a robe. It's like, oh, what do you know? And it's like a prank, but like this is just when you actually watch it, just a straight up sketch. And so I wonder how many people were upset or how many people were just like, well, this isn't what I thought it was, but like, I'll still watch.
Yeah, I remember like reading comments on it about like funny dude, hot lady, or like this, like one of them read, and I was like, all right, like, did you come here for the hot lady, or did you just happen to find the hot lady? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So now, after all that's happened, what did you think of, or like, did you show friends this, or like let them know, or just tell them how funny this story is? The fact that like a video you did back in college, you know, push like closer to 10 years ago, is randomly finding a worldwide audience.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually been a really interesting topic of conversation in job interviews. Like I haven't
It's come up in job interviews.
Yeah. Like I've never explicitly said that it was a porn parody, but I've brought it up whilst job hunting the last couple months of like, oh, I was in this sketch video that went viral in India. Like, And you're like, oh, that's weird and funny and cool. But
That's
then they never asked for it, which I thank God nobody's ever asked me for it. But yeah, I've had like I was telling you, I went back to school recently and I finished my master's degree. So I had this whole new circle of friends that I've met in the last 2 years that didn't know anything about my life in Chicago and my life at Columbia. So telling them about this they're like, wait, what? No, tell us more. That's fucking awesome. And I've shown a couple friends as well. They just think it's fucking hilarious.
Oh, that's so funny. It's come up in job interviews. I figured it would just be friends or family, you know, kind of joking around, but job interviews, oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I never thought that would happen.
Yeah.
So one thing, I'm not sure if you saw this, but like I always get a kick out of it. I wanted to share it in a video. Is there's a very long story in a comment that someone left on this video.
Okay.
And I wanted to see your kind of reaction to this. Someone left this,
Okay.
and it said, LOL, unfortunately, that doesn't happen in real life. LOL, 2 LOLs. I remember delivering pizza in the mid-90s, and this hot lady answered the door wearing a robe. She accidentally dropped her robe and complete B-Day suit. Like, so sees her naked. She ran upstairs screaming. It really seemed like an act and not an accident. I think she expected me to just leave, but like she hadn't paid me for the pizza. Her husband or boyfriend came and said, oh, she's so embarrassed. And he's like, okay, well, still need to be paid for this pizza. And they're like, oh, well, she must have lost the money in the commotion. So he's like, clearly this is an act to get a free pizza. So I take the pizza back to the store. I guess my tip was seeing her naked.
Oh my God.
Which that doesn't pay the bills. And like at first I'm like, okay. So I like how he starts the thing by saying this doesn't happen, but then proceeds to tell a story that's like more sexual than what happened in the video. But he's not done. This is where it gets really funny to me.
Oh no.
I was 18 years old, and let's just say she was much older than me. A definite MILF pushing 40, which I don't think late 30s is MILF status.
No, because that could be me in like 10 years. I hope I'm not a MILF in
Which, like, maybe if you have kids, but like that's still seems like late 40s, like 50s, you know. But let's just say at the time, I believe it was a coincidence. But later on, I believe it seeped into my subconscious. After I broke with my girlfriend, my next couple girlfriends were much older than me, with the last one becoming my baby's mama, LOL. And even to this day, 20 years later, I still date older women. So I guess if I ever saw this lady again, I would need to thank her and probably tell her I apologize for taking the pizza back because she gave me a show that was life-changing. So like, I'm like, is he having a therapeutic breakthrough in a YouTube comment for this sketch?
What? Oh.
It's not done either.
Shut. Oh my God, please. I have not read this. Holy shit.
He says, oh, I almost forgot, which like you didn't need to type I almost forgot. Like we would have not known whether you forgot or not. Oh, I almost forgot. She wasn't just older than me, but she was also a different complexion than me, which also changed with the women I dated and also continues today. LOL. And that's a comment that someone wrote on this video, this long story with like a therapeutic breakthrough, and now he dates women of a different complexion, as he says, and also 20 years older.
Wow, I'm glad I had helped somebody with an existential breakthrough. That's wonderful. Wow, I like can't even imagine if I was a delivery person and I just saw somebody like drop their clothes. I would be really uncomfortable. Even if I was turned on, I'd just be like, okay, so $20. I'm a go. But I guess for him that was really life-changing. Wow.
And just because I found this also funny, He did like have several misspellings in this. I tried to clean it up as best I could, but he spelled complexion wrong, in which, of course, YouTube, someone has to troll him and say, actually, it's spelled like this, but that person spelled it wrong. So a third person said, actually, it's spelled like this, and then makes fun of the person who originally corrected.
So it's a bunch of neckbeard trolls watching my video is what you're telling me.
I mean, I did look at the general gender, and it is 97% male. So
No surprise, of course. Of course. I'm not big with the lesbian crowd. It's fine.
yeah, which, you know, I'm sure they're just guesstimating because however many people must watch this without a YouTube account where they probably don't know the gender.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you get those numbers? But okay. Okay.
So that was one funny thing that I happened with this, but also because your video blew up, someone a few years ago actually emailed Entertainment Buffet hoping to get a pizza delivery, like not like with you, but like they thought we sold actual pizza
Shut
and
up.
wanted to get a quote on pizza for his daughter's wedding. Because you were so high in the search algorithm, he must have searched pizza delivery on Google, and you must have been one of the higher things. And for some reason, he contacted entertainmentbuffet@gmail.com with a quote. He wanted a quote on pizzas.
Who finds catering on YouTube?
And also, we're called Entertainment Buffet. Like, yes, buffet's in the thing, but like, did he not watch the video and think like this is not a company who must sell food?
Oh my. Wow.
So all these things, I mean, and this is only like currently, you know, like pizza delivery has still continued to grow. It hasn't quite hit a wall or anything like that. I mean, how do you feel? Has this just things like this happen, but also just continuing to grow? As like I said, we're pushing almost 10 years since we made this.
It's just, yeah, it's absolutely wild. It's kind of cool that I have that like one weird tidbit about myself now. I actually really, really love that. Like, I hate when people do icebreakers that are like, tell me a fun fact. And I usually have like 3 or 4 go-to things, but this is like by far the weirdest one. And I'm always going to love that. So I appreciate that you guys casted me in this.
Yeah, it's wild. And like I said, obviously we always hoped that a video would get a large amount of attention, but I had no idea it would be because of this, that kind of like, that's what lit the fuse, and then eventually spiraled into just a bunch of people finding it. But like, that was what, like I said, kicked things off to kind of jumpstart the algorithm into people finding it, is accidentally thinking you were going to be in an actual porn scene.
So did you end up getting, I don't know if YouTube can tell you this, did you end up getting a lot of clicks on the other pizza deliveries from this?
So yeah, so actually 2, like the first one that's after this one, like the second episode, and then another one that's titled Bachelorette Party.
Oh, I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, like those 2, they have like 20-some thousand views, you know.
That's really good. Holy shit.
And the other episodes trickle down to maybe like 8 to 5 to a couple thousand. So like all pizza delivery episodes in particular have thousands of views, but this was definitely like the one that's just the crown jewel of Entertainment Buffet right now, as far as when it comes to viewership.
I'm so honored. I will remember you all in my Oscars speech.
Yeah, really. I'm glad that it's something that you're not like ashamed of, and that you find because like I tell people about it not to like brag, but just because I find it so funny, and because like that is kind of what I've described before as like the love-hate relationship I have with YouTube, where it's like I'll put, or like I'm sure this happens to a lot of creators, like we'll put in all this effort in like writing and producing and editing and whatever, and then videos could just go nowhere. And I think it goes to show that it may not happen right away. It may all of a sudden be found 4 or 5 years later, and then spiral into like the next couple of years growing over 3 million views in over 50 countries.
Right. You're right. And even, I mean, even from like an acting perspective, like, you know, you might like put on one really great show or one flop of a show, but it just takes for somebody to find your shit on YouTube. And like, it's probably like the last thing that you expect to go nuts. And it just does.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one thing I will say that I haven't told many people, they maybe can check it out on the channel, but we decided to run with this experiment of porn parodies. And we are going to be producing more of them in different categories. And just this last week, we released one that is currently titled Plumber Makes Housewife Wet, where it's the same thing. The actress, the actors watched your video for inspiration, and and there's no actual, they don't even touch. They don't, like, she doesn't slap him, but it's the same thing. It seems all porny. Nothing happens and it ends. And it's been up for less than a week, and it already is approaching 1,000 views. So
that's awesome. Wow.
So, and also I think part of it was like I put it on pizza delivery, like, if you like this, check out this. But that's at the time that I'm recording this, in sort of like middle to end of October. What do you think that you could be like the predecessor to like possibly more porn parodies, and everyone's just going to be watching you for inspiration? Just like we have to kind of hit what BriElle hit for this tone, because people love it all over the world.
And it's so funny because so much of that, I mean, like, yes, you're like, I'm in character, but I think why I liked the script so much is because like, that just sounds like something I would normally do anyway. Like, I wouldn't like tease a guy into getting a free pizza necessarily by like being really sexy and whatnot, but I would make really like crude, crass jokes. So like, in a way, like it was acting, but it wasn't. So it's funny that that's like the standard that's set,
Yeah.
But this will probably be really big with the edging community. That's what that's called, right? Like they probably
I didn't even think of that.
There's a whole
You're just the queen of edge. Like, everyone's
the queen of edge. There's gonna be this whole like demographic of people that are like, oh, this is just right.
Oh, wow. But yeah, so we'll have to keep kind of checking in over time and see, if pizza delivery crosses 4 million.
Please, yes.
But any final thoughts about pizza delivery, this journey that this video has kind of, like, while you're off, having like a marketing and advertising, design career, and there's just this video out there that is worldwide.
This is a good like little time capsule piece from a really good and really important time in my artistic career. And even though I'm doing something totally different from theater and comedy right now, like this reminds me of the shit that I really love to do and why I even have the career that I have to begin with. So I love it. I love having it. If you're watching it and you're having too much fun, find a different hobby. Find real porn. Go on Pornhub.
Go on Pornhub like an adult.
Go to Pornhub.
Subscribe to someone's OnlyFans.
Yes, that exists now.
You're gonna start an OnlyFans, which just like screenshots from this.
It's just this. It's just me in a robe making pizza jokes. Like, oh fuck, I should do that. Actually, that was.
Well, yeah. Thank you so much for going down memory lane on this. It's just. I had no idea when we were on set that like something like this would happen. I'm like, you know what? I think this is fun. It seems like you guys were having fun. Hopefully just some people watch it and they have fun. Not the fun I thought they would have, but
I'm really glad. This is fucking hilarious and cool.
Oh yeah, but yeah, thanks so much for going down memory lane on this. And I'm just glad that you find it fun. You find it just like an interesting fact about you, and you're comfortable just owning that you were in this video, because like I think people probably could have had so many different reactions to it, where like, you know, like they're doing what to this video, like no, take it down, remove my name from it, you know. And like, not that I'm going to shame anyone for maybe, you know, not wanting to be that comfortable, but you know, I do appreciate how you're just like, yeah, this is a thing I did in college, and it's still a thing, you know.
I remember feeling that way a little bit like towards graduation from Columbia, because like I didn't know what it was like going into the job market. And you know, I was like, would people find this, and like, would people not give me a job or not take me seriously? But people in my line of work are like we swear a lot and we drink a lot. Like some of the shit from Mad Men in advertising still exists, like even the sexism sometimes. But like when I realized that people like don't give a shit and that people really can be themselves, then I was like, okay, now I'm like all about it. And like, yeah, once I knew that I was, I don't know, get away with it is the right phrase, but like I knew I was going, once I knew that I was going into a business that would accept me for being who I am as long as my work was great, it became much more exciting to embrace being a part of this.
Awesome. Well, who knows? Maybe someday we'll have to do a reunion episode of Pizza Delivery. You
10
come
years
out.
later, he's still delivering pizzas. She still wants them free.
There you go. You just wrote the tagline.
Done.